Have you ever had thoughts about your leadership or doubted it, like wanting to step up to be a group leader or a representative, but not having enough courage to do so? Raise your hands if you have ever felt that way before. Lots of people, huh? Look around you. You're not alone, because I have too. And if this is you, then this speech is for you. It's crazy how even some of the most unexpected people end up being some of the best leaders. That could be you. So today, I hope to show you how you can learn that all people of all ages have the capability to be a leader. First of all, doubting does not mean you can't be a leader. Your doubts and your fears do not define that. When I was in 3rd grade, I was lining up with my peers to head to recess. I did the same thing every day, and that was to follow my friends and to never be in front. And I know it's such a small deal once you think about it, but that moment was the moment that I decided for myself that I was going to stay as the follower forever and never take the lead. Such a big thought for a 7-year-old, right? Have you ever had thoughts like that too? Have you ever had doubted yourself like that in such a small moment, like a seed was planted inside your brain? Well, fear not, because that doubt was quickly proven wrong once I stepped into middle school and became part of the student council at my old school. And I started to gain confidence in myself and become a leader. I did many things, such as planning school events, fundraisers, and announcing information to my classmates. Have you had responsibilities like that too? Because as a leader, you have to take responsibility. Maybe you guys were working in a team, and you were faced with a challenge. Did you guys have to work together to solve it? Or did you have to be the first one to take the leap, to take the first step, the first action? Even Barack Obama himself spoke openly about moments of self-doubt, and he was faced with criticism about his background and experience. But despite all that, he became the first African-American president of the United States, and is ranked as one of the most liked and popular US presidents. He's basically proof that doubting doesn't mean you can't be a leader. Now, leadership can be shown in countless forms. There are 2 categories of leadership: situational and transformational leadership. Situational leadership is a leader's ability to switch between leadership styles. For example, a person's ability to switch between directive and supportive behaviors. And transformational leadership is also different. These leaders create a captivating goal or vision for the future, and they tend to have high emotional intelligence, which allows them to connect with their team members while building trust and commitment. The London School of Business Administration states that the psychology of leadership involves mental and emotional dynamics that influence how leaders behave and how followers perceive them. These traits can include EQ, strategic thinking, empowerment, or effective communication. My role models in the past did have those traits. Maybe yours did too. For example, my cheer dance captain, Hero. I was one of those shy, quiet team members. I didn't know how to express my ideas or speak to anyone properly. It was as if I had lost my voice or something. But she led with patience and understanding, which allowed me to become more motivated and confident to participate. So these qualities can allow leaders to inspire their followers and to lead with such great traits. Here is an example of a transformational leader. Recall that a transformational leader is a leader who creates a captivating goal or vision for the future, and these leaders encourage growth. Nelson Mandela faced a difficult journey, being imprisoned for leading resistance against apartheid in South Africa. And during that time in prison, he learned forgiveness, patience, and that anger can destroy leadership. And in the end, despite all those difficulties, he led with humility to end apartheid and encouraged many. The trait theory of leadership by Harvard Law School states that inherent qualities such as intelligence, self-confidence, and integrity are associated with effective leadership, as well as personality traits like openness, extroversion, or conscientiousness. This shows how Nelson Mandela inspired and led so many people, and how important transformational leadership really is because of how it encourages growth. Like, for example, if you have faced difficulties or doubts in the past, you can grow from that and improve. Here is an example of a situational leader, Václav Havel. He was a Czech writer, activist, and president. First, he started off as a writer and an activist who spoke out peacefully against communism. And then, he stepped up to become a unifying leader who led the Velvet Revolution in 1989, which was a peaceful protest movement that ended the communist rule. And then in the end, he became the president of the Czech Republic, becoming more practical and diplomatic to help build a new democracy. So as you can see from that, he adjusted his leadership styles depending on the situation. First, he was peaceful, and then he became unifying and inspiring, and in the end, he had to become more practical to fit the position of a political leader. A famous quote from Václav Havel is, "Truth and love will overcome lies and hatred." Now, you've all seen these examples of such powerful people in such high positions. But leadership can be shown in everyday lives and does not have to be political or big. Some examples in schools could be student councils or even a student teaching other students. I personally have a friend who teaches other students, and his leadership traits really shine out while doing that. Or, if you want an example from this school, someone being in charge of the International Fair and Festival, which I'm sure students here have gone through before or have seen before. Leadership can also coexist with work ethics, like leading big projects in workplaces, or even people being in a high position in a workplace. So I hope you can see from this that leadership can apply to young students and does not have to be political or big. You do not have to become the president of the world to be a leader, right? So we're moving on to a personal story about me now. I am not a perfect leader. One of the things I need to fix about myself is prioritization and strategy in leading people to success. As a leader, it is important to have the courage to do what is right, even when it may hinder your popularity or how others view you. And that can apply to me too, because sometimes the first time when I meet people, the first thing I tend to do is to try and get them to like me, which is not what leadership is about. For example, at leadership camp, I was one of the unit leaders and met and took care of many students. I tried my best to be nice, friendly, inclusive, and communicative towards them. But however, I did not have good strategies in the activities. I didn't know how to work as a team or strategize with my team members very well. But despite that, despite getting the least amount of points in the whole camp, I won the best unit leader, like ironically. So I hope you can learn from that story that we can all continuously learn and leadership does not have to be big. Now here, we come to a big point. What if you don't want to become a leader? That's okay. Some possible reasons why people don't want to become leaders are lack of self-confidence or the fear of responsibility. Or perhaps you're just not interested. And that is okay. This speech is meant to inform you about the possibilities of becoming a leader and about the traits of leadership, and also to encourage you that you can do it. So, if you don't want to become a leader, you could embrace strengths in supporting roles and focus on becoming a team player and working with your team. But hang on. Don't you remember when at the start of my speech, I talked about how I doubted myself and thought I would never become a leader? Look at how that turned out. So that could be the same for you, but the decision is up to you. Now, finally, it's your turn. Remember that self-doubt does not mean you can't do it. Remember Barack Obama, a person in such high power who had self-doubts became such a powerful person like that. That could be you too. And leadership does not have to be big. It can apply to everyday lives, anywhere, anytime, or even when you are young and a student, you know? And lastly, anyone can become a leader anywhere. So, a quote that you might want to take away for today is, become the kind of leader that people would follow voluntarily even if you had no title or position, by Brian Tracy, a Canadian-American motivational speaker. Lastly, please repeat after me. We can be a leader. We can be a leader. Thank you.